Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. Not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Welcome back. From Just the News, nearly 2/3 of U.S. counties now Second Amendment sanctuaries. As of June 20th, there are 1,930 counties protected by Second Amendment sanctuary legislation at either the state or county level. Now, I'm not sure what that means. Say you're in a non-open carry state, i.e. Tennessee, which I was there in June when they just passed it. It made all the news there. And there's other states. No permit. They go right with the Constitution. The right to carry and bear arms shall not be infringed. Period. There's no caveat. There's no asterisk. So that means, say you're in a state or a county that's a Second Amendment sanctuary, and feds come to take your guns because your girlfriend from 12 years ago or your ex-wife from a decade ago decides to be a jerk and call up and say you're a dangerous this and dangerous that. So what happens is you don't get due process. They take all your guns, and then you have to go before a judge whenever that is. Just the opposite, actually, of due process, but will the states or the counties intervene here to stop the feds? That's the question. And that one I can't get answered. Maybe somebody out there can give me maybe a little better idea. Let's read on. The majority of all U.S. counties have been designated as Second Amendment sanctuaries, according to analysis by sanctuarycounties.com. As of June 20th, there are 1,930 counties protected by Second Amendment sanctuary legislation at either state or county level, representing 61% of the counties and county equivalents in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Texas was the 21st state to pass a constitutional carry bill, which Governor Greg Abbott signed into law and which becomes effective September 1st. And while some state legislators are not taking the same action, county officials have chosen to enact their own legislation. Roughly 1,137 counties have taken it upon themselves to pass Second Amendment sanctuary legislation, and likely hundreds of cities, towns, and boroughs are just so at their level as well. The Second Amendment sanctuary movement was born out of the grassroots effort brought on by county or municipal leaders who vowed not to enforce any gun laws imposed by state or federal bodies they deemed were unconstitutional. And there's the caveat. Now, those of you out there that are saying, well, how is this any different than California and some of the other states that were non-legal immigrants? There were sanctuary states to illegals could come in, or people here unlawfully. Why is that any different? Well, it doesn't say in the Constitution they have a right to be here. It doesn't say the right to non-citizens to enter the country without legal means is protected and shall not be infringed. Well, it doesn't say that. Second Amendment's pretty tight. I wish it was. God, I wish I could go back in time into a time machine and talk to Madison and all of them and have them spell out the Bill of Rights a little better, frankly, and a couple other things in the Constitution. Oh, gosh. Maybe someday. Sheriffs have also made pledges to uphold the Second Amendment. Most recently, every sheriff in Utah. Yeah, every single sheriff, which is here I'm upstate New York at the county level, is county sheriffs. Employing the Second Amendment as the divinely inspired Constitution clearly states, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. A letter signed by all 29 Utah sheriff states, we hereby recognize the significant principle underlying the Second Amendment. To rep and keep and bear arms is indispensable to the existence of a free people. Upon signing the new Texas law, Abbott said Texas was a Second Amendment sanctuary state. Now, I like Governor Abbott. I just wish he'd come around. He capitulates a little too much for me. But I don't live in Texas, so I guess it's none of my business, but it does affect me indirectly. Months earlier, Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts signed a proclamation giving Nebraska the same sanctuary designation. And Missouri Governor Mike Parsons signed a bill that nullifies federal gun laws in the Show Me State. Now that I like. Are background checks unconstitutional? I'm not really sure. In some states, to get a license, you have to go to mandatory gun safety courses. Is it a good idea? Probably. Is it unconstitutional? I don't know. And I don't know how, for this long time now, decades, that states, I mean, I live in New York. I mean, I'm upstate, so a little better at the county level here. We're not as draconian, and the Second Amendment is New York City. But while these states can pass these laws restricting gun ownership, try to get a permit in New Jersey. Good freaking luck. You'll be in your 20s, and maybe by the time you're 30, you might get one, and that's with persistence. They'll say you filled out the wrong form, or you went to the wrong place, or you missed the deadline by a day and you got to start the process over. They make it impossible, which of course is the point. The movement is growing in light of statements made by President Joe Biden that the federal government will target firearms dealers in an attempt to link the increasing number of homicides occurring in major cities to a lack of gun law enforcement. How much you want to bet? And by the way, the big cities with the highest murder rate from guns are very, very strict gun laws there. What percent do you think that murders, we'll say in Chicago, which has their own city rules, which is unbelievable. I don't know how they get away with that. But anyway, they have some of the strictest laws in the country. So most of the murders are occurring, at least in a legal sense, with unlawful guns. People that don't have the right to carry a gun, at least by Illinois law in this case, and Chicago law. I don't know, folks, what's going to happen. They say they're not going to enforce the federal unconstitutional laws. So what does that mean? That the ATF people or the FBI or wherever has to go to somebody's house, that the local authorities won't cooperate? What does not cooperate mean? Will they stop them when they know the ATF's coming to a person's house unlawfully to seize their firearms? Will they stand at the house and say no? Will the sheriff's department stand around the house with their guns drawn if necessary? Is it all just for show? I'm not really sure. Now, I like the open carry. I like the open carry states. And those morons out there that think, well, it's harder to vote than it is to get a gun, is just plain old BS. Absolute nonsense. It's really easy to vote, even in the states required by ID. I don't think people even realize. There's a few videos on YouTube here that have some of these liberal, I use air quotes, journalists that went around and say, we're gonna buy some guns to see how easy it is. Well, when they found out that it wasn't so easy, they were surprised. Why? Because they never checked it out. They never asked people that own guns legally, what's the hassle? We just assume that everybody can get one, and that's why there's a murder rate so high. Well, no. And in fact, it's funny with very, what I'll call liberal gun laws, gun possession laws, i.e. Texas with open carry, and Tennessee and Utah and other states, their homicide rates are much lower per 1,000. It's just that simple. And I'll tell you the truth, the funny part is guns are selling at a rate the gun industry can't make them fast enough. They're just booming with sales. And of the huge increases, they're like 60, 70, 80% of year to year. My understanding is 70-odd% of all the new first-time gun owners are women to protect themselves and their children. Now, in all fairness, you got a Glock and you're a 115-pound woman and somebody's breaking in your house or apartment, you have one or two small children there, guess what, dude? She's going to load that whole clip into your ass and then ask questions later. A mother protecting her children with a Glock is deadly. And once word gets around, these guns are everywhere now, maybe we'll see a lot less of the other crimes, i.e. carjackings, forced entries, what do they call that, when they bust into a place while the people are home. Maybe these things will start to go down as you smash into somebody's house and they unload the whole clip into you and whoever's with you. Home invasion, that's what it is. Maybe the home invasions will go down. We'll have to see. And as COVID restrictions, even the draconian blue states, start coming down and we get, air quotes, back to normal, we'll have to see. Attorney General Merrick Garland was also recently argued that while the majority of licensed firearms dealers sell to individuals who pass the FBI background check, the same dealers who willfully violate the law increase the risk that guns will fall into the wrong hands. Now, what laws is he talking about? Some dealers who willfully violate the law. He said the administration's plan was a part of a concerted effort to crack down on gun traffickers. Now, it's so vague. Willfully violate the law. Increase the risk that guns will fall in the wrong hands. What the hell does that mean in English? He doesn't say what they're doing because they're not. One such attempt is the ATF's new rule to regulate and tax a firearm brace widely used by veterans. The move has been criticized by members of Congress and by Attorney General Ken Paxton, who argues it's unconstitutional. Oh, great. We have to go through the federal courts, and then we have to go to the Supreme Court if they take the case, if it gets that high and some of this stuff, and flip a coin and hope for the best what they're going to do. God. I don't know. It just is all for show. It's just, is it a conservative version of virtue signaling? Let's take a look at the map here. You can see that Second Amendment sanctuary and pro 2A counties national map updated June 18th. So it's almost a month old, 3 weeks old. Now, I live in upstate New York, where it's all blank. There's two little counties way up in north and western in upstate New York. And you see the northernmost county in Pennsylvania, just above the Pennsylvania line, and a little bit east is Broome County, where I live. I live right above Susquehanna County on the Pennsylvania border. It's amazing to me. I just came back from Tennessee, as you see there. They're both state and county 2A sanctuary, and then state level now. They just passed when I was there just recently. In fact, June 18th, I think this covers it. They're an open carry now. And the right to carry and bear arms shall not be infringed. I don't understand what is so difficult about that. I really don't. And those of you out there that say, well, why do you need all these guns to go deer hunting? I mean, shut the F up. That's not what these guns are for. They're for self-protection. Well, self-protection against what? You have police. Yeah, okay. Somebody's breaking in your house, like in New Jersey. Somebody breaks in your house and say you have a firearm. If you can find a way to escape your house without being harmed, without shooting them, you have to do that. That's insane. Because if you shoot this person, they found out that she could have went out the back door and just leave your house unguarded. That's what you have to do. So basically what they're trying to do is making the possession of a firearm worthless. It's insane. I don't know why this hasn't been straightened out years ago. maybe allow the do-nothing Republicans, and I'm a huge Republican supporter, but these old school Republicans have been letting the Democrats get away with this crap for years. Years and years and years. It's just amazing to me. And as you can see there, Utah, Idaho, it's pretty extensive. Nebraska, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, most of Arizona, and oddly enough, New Mexico, which is a pretty blue state. You see the little white portions there. Those are probably the major cities. I don't know if it's going to come to a head or not. I really don't know. God, I just wish the Republican Party would grow a set of balls. We'll have to see. But as these things come to a head, I think the real test will be if some county sheriff's department or some state, through their state police, find out that the feds are taking away somebody's guns unlawfully, and they intervene. That's the key thing. They intervene. The sheriff's department is called. They come. The ATF comes, and there is the local authorities, state or county or even city, saying to the feds, no, we're armed too. You want to come take away this person's guns? You have absolutely no legal right. That's the only way this is going to stick. Well, that's confrontational, John. That might lead to violence. Well, I hope it doesn't come to that. And I hope that these Second Amendment sanctuary laws aren't just virtue signaling to the conservatives like the Democrats do, and it's disgusting. I hope that's not it. But we'll have to see. Because with all of the fentanyl overdoses, the oxycodone addictions, abuse, spousal abuses, child sex trafficking, hundreds of thousands of illegals crossing the border that are being used, sex trafficked, and all kinds of other crazy stuff that's just way more of a priority. Murders in Chicago and every other major city. There's so many things we need to solve first. But of course, our president, President Biden, had his attorney general, Merrick Garland. You remember him. He's the one that Republicans screwed over from being on the Supreme Court, thank God. Said that the biggest threat facing, and the head of the FBI, might add, said the same thing. Not all of this crazy stuff, not all the drug problems, not all the sex trafficking, not all the child pornography rings, you name it, the list is 2-3 pages long. The biggest threat, the domestic issues in the country, is white supremacists. Really? I doubt if you took all the white supremacists in the entire United States, you couldn't fill up an arena for a hockey game. Good Christ. Anyway, folks, we'll have to see. And until next time, goodbye and good luck.